Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I had a subscriber reach out in my last video. He noticed that we got a new travel trailer, and I guess he was looking at the same model, and he was wondering our opinions on the trailer, the pros and cons, and what we thought about it. And I go over some things since we've owned it, what has come up. And looking back on the video I just shot, I kind of forgot to mention the subfloor on the trailer. It seems to be squeaking and kind of loose here and there while you're walking on the floor. So I don't know if they didn't put enough structural support under the trailer or if they didn't screw it or glue it down enough. But that's another issue just to touch on real quick. But stay tuned and let me know if you guys have any other questions, and please leave a like and a comment, and we'll get to the review. I'll let you know our opinion on the Forest River 2024 Aurora Light 16BHX model. All right, take care. Thanks for watching. So this is the 2024 Aurora Light by Forest River, the 16BHX model. The overall length is about 20 feet with the tongue. We really didn't know much about this while we were looking at trailers. I did a little bit of research, and most of the people that I found on YouTube were saying great things about it. However, this model's kind of been a lemon for us, and unfortunately when you get into a loan on a trailer, you can't just swap it out or get a different trailer that easily. So you kind of lose money on an upgrade because they basically take you out of this loan on this and then they try to put you into a different unit. But we did get some money off on this model, being that it is a 2024. We did not know that it was sitting on the dealer's lot for 500 days until we went in and expressed all our thoughts and feelings and problems that we've had on our Oregon trip. So I'll just go over a few things here. The reason why we were looking at something like this size is that I tow with a Chevy Express van, and it is a half-ton, so I'm kind of limited on what I can tow. And on the market, there's only so many models that I'll be able to tow with that van. So this is a bunkhouse version, and it has a queen size bed in the front. So that's kind of why we were leaning towards this trailer when we got it. And it's 3,100 pounds dry. Some issues that we ran into on our trip is that some of the stickers are coming off. They're like bubbling. I don't know if that happens to a lot of trailers, but it was happening to this trailer. And then you could see the TV antenna up there. They installed, so this trailer came to their dealership without a TV tuner on it, so it blew off on the road. I guess it came from Albuquerque, New Mexico, this trailer. So it came to their dealership without a TV tuner right there, and then they ordered a new one and put it on, and the new one blew off on I-5 when we were coming back home from Oregon. So that's an issue that we got to get another one put on. I don't know if it's the way that it's mounted or the way they install them. So that kind of was annoying. It almost blew off and hit a car, so it could have been a big problem, but thank God it didn't hit anybody. Other than that, this clean out here, it's kind of low. We didn't really like it to begin with. I guess that's just the design on how it has to fit on this trailer. I don't know. Maybe they could have replumbed it differently, but every time I had to hook up the dump, I guess the seals or these valves, they leak kind of, so when you pop the cap, sewage comes out. So that was kind of annoying. And the dealer said that happens to like every trailer, which I don't know how true that is, but or it's just a bad design on these cleanouts. Comes with 2 jacks in the rear. There's none in the front. Really didn't like how that water line right there, I guess that's for the drain. When you winterize it, you just let all the water out right there. We didn't really like how that was plumbed, but that hasn't been an issue yet. A few more issues is that the silicone around all the windows was coming apart and cracking. So we're kind of stuck with this trailer. They weren't really working on a good trade-in for us since we had to deal with quite a bit of issues with this trailer. And we went with Blue Compass is where we got this trailer, and they put on this Eco Pro, some type of UV clear coat that they put on the trailer. And when we picked it up, you could see handprints and like it was dirty and water spots all over it. So it was supposed to be detailed and then applied at the dealership, and I don't think it was. So we got kind of upset about that. It was like $1,700, but they discounted it to $750. But I don't think they did anything to it. And the dealer, the manager for the service department said it was a joke that they even offer that type of Eco Pro clear coat. So that was kind of upsetting that the manager told us that after we were picking it up, you know, the next day when we signed all the papers to get the new TV antenna installed and some other issues that they said that they fixed, but they didn't. And there was screws coming apart on the exterior molding that we told them that we wanted fixed one before we picked up the trailer, and there's still screws missing on the molding that they didn't put in. This door locker right here, I guess we got a lemon, so I mean there's issues on a little bit of everything on this trailer, but the lock doesn't really lock that well. This is the only outside locker. The stairs right here, the bolts came loose, so that could have came off on the highway, but there's no lock washers or nuts on that, so I had to tighten that. I'm probably gonna have to add that because when you step on this, the entire frame right here like moves, and this staircase was loose. So I don't know, it's another manufacturer kind of issue that they could have put at least a lock nut on it. But you could see the exhaust vent right here blew off on I-5 as well. So I don't know if that's happened to a lot of trailer owners, but that's another issue. Basically, I had to duct tape it, or rain would have just blown right onto the oven or the cooktop, the sink area right there. There's literally just like a computer fan, and you could see daylight through, so I had to duct tape that. It does come with one outside speaker, and it is a JBL system with Bluetooth. Couple other things on this trailer. It doesn't come with a spare tire, and the mount would be kind of, they said that they don't make a mount that would fit this bumper, so we'd have to either fabricate something or just put the spare like I did on my van on my roof rack and just transported it that way. But that's kind of annoying that there's no spare. I've been seeing that newer trailers, they put the spare underneath the frame, which is kind of funky, but at least maybe they could have done that on this. But there's no spare tire holding area on this trailer. It is nice though, we can put the septic drain line in the bumper, so at least we can do that. It does have a black tank flush, which works pretty good for what I can tell. Basically every RV park we went to had pretty high water pressure, so I set up a regulating valve on that. And for the main water, basically I usually put like 15 gallons in the tank, and then most of the time I just hooked up to the city water connection. But if I was going to take a shower, I just filled up the tank so that the water heater can work. So you fill the fresh water there. There's a cable connection for satellite TV, and then your 30 amp connection right there. I'm going to be plugging it in. One thing I do like about these newer trailers is that they have a 12-volt refrigerator. So while you're driving, you can hit a switch and leave the refrigerator running, and it draws from the house battery, or the came with a lead acid battery. So at least you can have your refrigerator on while you're driving if you didn't have a power feed from your 7-pin, which I don't have on my van. It doesn't have a constant hot going to the trailer, so it doesn't charge the battery up. But when you plug in to shore power, it will charge the house battery. So that's how it's been working for us. But it did come with the 5-gallon propane tank. The water heater works pretty good on this. I want to say it's a 7-gallon or 8-gallon tank. So for the most part, that worked out pretty good. We did have to install a distribution hitch, so we got from Harbor Freight, and that actually worked out pretty good. I think it was about 220 bucks. So it's rated for 10,000 pounds, but on my van it sits kind of low, so I had to get one of those, and it kind of pulled up the back end a little bit, so it towed and rode pretty good for the most part. I didn't have any issues. And climbing the hills in Oregon with my van, a half-ton van, it was pulling it pretty comfortably, loaded about 55 up and down the hills, so that's not too bad. But on the straightaways, I could do about 80, 85, which I wouldn't recommend towing a trailer, but you get kind of tired and you want to get somewhere a little quicker, so you got to do what you got to do. But the awning is automatic awning, and they're supposed to put the Eco Pro, I guess, on the awning as well. At least that's what it says in the paperwork. But awning works pretty good. It's just kind of annoying that the door doesn't open all the way. They didn't like kind of offset it, but I guess you could only go so far, with the wall and how big the trailer is. But it's kind of annoying that the door doesn't open all the way, or it doesn't latch. So there's an outside plug here. I think it's a shared GFI and a shared circuit with the kitchen. But there's a dog kind of leash link, they call it, which I did use on the trip. So I could feed Sedona and she could hang out kind of under the trailer, and it worked out pretty good. This door though, the frame, kind of like when you get a trailer home, you nitpick and go through everything, which you don't really see when you're at the dealership. But this frame is bent, you can see right here, and on this side as well. So it's always been kind of hard to open up the door, and I kind of thought it was due to the fact of it's not being level at the dealership, but it just doesn't seal that well. So that was another little issue, but we did like it. The interior colors are nice, and you get a couch with it, which is nice. It folds out to a bed. There's a bunch of storage under there, and then the front locker goes all the way to the other side of the trailer, and you can access it under this bed here. But 6'2", you can fit in here on the bed, no problem. And you also have this kind of little catch-all area, or little shelf here. But it's nice that it's got some storage there. But you can hang your feet off if you're taller than 6'2", and you kind of got some upper storage there. The front nosing of the trailer, when I was driving, I was noticing that it was like kind of bending in. So you could see this kind of like pushing in the wind. And on the seam here, it was kind of like, you could kind of see like it seemed like it was delaminating, kind of like coming apart a little bit while I was driving. So on the inside, the molding, you could see kind of the molding up here, it was coming apart. They just shoot with some staples, and it kept putting which you can kind of see right now, it kept putting sawdust all over the bedding and everywhere. Pretty much the whole trailer was doing that on all the seams. But they just put like this, you could see like right here on the walls, it's kind of like just like a, I don't know, like a tape that matches, that they stick on. So that was kind of annoying that we kept having to push the front molding together. So it's not really a good design, but it does have quite a bit of storage. It's nice having these upper cabinets, a little catch area, I guess. And it does come with the USB charging. There's a few ports all around. I think, oh, there's one right there. Yeah, so there's one by the exit window. And then in the front there, and then there's two, one on each bunk, so that's nice. I slept up here. I'm 6'2", but I put a foam mat up here and then my bedding, so I kind of hung my feet a little bit off, but I fit. You know, it's almost this twin size mattress, but not quite. But it works. If you're over 6 foot, I would not suggest sleeping below. But if you are over 6 foot, you could sleep up above. I'd say 6'2" is the max. You'd probably be too uncomfortable if you're 6'3" or 4 hanging your feet off. But it does have quite a bit of interior light, which is nice. This Aurora, I guess it's, I'm trying to think of the app, but it does come with an app that you can kind of monitor and shut on and off things on your phone. So if you're in bed or you're out in camp or something like that, and you want to check your water tanks or put your awning in and out, I think you could turn on the water heater and the pump too from the app, which is kind of cool. But you could also hook up your phone to the JBL sound system. There's only 2 speakers, but at least you could turn on Spotify and you got that. The awning does have a light that goes out, which changes colors. It's kind of cool. The TV mount is kind of a joke, but a lot of trailers kind of have this where they're stationary, they don't swivel. So you'd have to put in a swivel mount. If you wanted a bigger TV, I think a 24 is pretty much max, because you'd be hitting the shelving over here. But we did have a Roku set up on this. It worked great. Most RV parks have free Wi-Fi, so we could watch YouTube and Netflix and whatever. There's quite a bit of storage. I put a lot of stuff under this bunk here. It's just hard to access, but at least it's there. The AC works really good for this size. This is a 13,000 BTU, and it worked really good for how big it is. The sink kind of is awkward, being that it's next to the stovetop, because when you're doing dishes, you kind of got to go across, and I put all the, a towel down and put all the dishes to dry over there, or on our rack, drying rack that we had. But it's kind of annoying that you're going in between. I kind of get that they had to do certain things certain ways, but kind of wish that the sink was in the middle and then the cooktop was over here at least. I don't know, but you kind of get water quite a bit on there. I tried not to, just let it, drain a little bit more into the sink. The windows, they work pretty good. You got enough light in here and airflow for the size of it. This fan, it's like a little computer fan. I didn't think it worked that good. I kind of opened up the windows when I was cooking in this front door. And the light coming through this glass was annoying. It was like quite a bit of light coming in, so probably gonna tint the window. I hung a towel just to block the sun coming in, because it got pretty intense. So it does come with the fire extinguisher, which is nice. The furnace kind of smelt funky. I know it's a newer unit and they kind of smell like you're burning off paint or whatever, but it kind of didn't go away, and I had it on for quite a bit, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and it still smelt pretty bad in here, and I had all the windows open. So, but the stove works good. The cooktop 2-burner works pretty good. It has a light, which is cool, that kicks on and off. It's not plugged in right now, and I think I got the battery off, but this shelving, the cabinetry is kind of a joke. It's like particle board, so it's not strong, and all the plumbing was loose when I was taking stuff out to take this into the dealer. We have an appointment to get things fixed. It was all loose, and there was water dripping on everything in here, which I didn't know until I took it all out. But other than that, you can see this here came apart. These screws that they use, it's just like particle board. It's like a divider to hide, I guess, some propane lines or whatever's back there, maybe some electrical and propane lines, but that divider came apart in there. You got your panel and fuse box there, and then your carbon monoxide detector. It has a fire alarm right there too. So, and then the microwave doesn't work that good. You got to really add some time to whatever you're cooking. I did some hot dogs in there, and I wasn't really impressed with it, but it is GE appliances. I'm not sure what the refrigerator is, but I know you got to budget with what they're working with to build this to sell it. But we looked at other models online and like teardrop models, but nothing we could stand in. So at least we can stand in this model. And this refrigerator right here has these clips that hold the refrigerator in. That came apart, and the fridge actually came out, and we had food all over the floor, so that was pretty annoying. I would suggest adding some extra clips or support or something to hold the refrigerator in. The door frame here is the basically it's all plastic, so that's kind of a joke, but you could see it right there on the door frame. That's all coming apart. And then we're noticing too, some of this molding has came down. I guess they just glue this on or something, but some of the molding's coming apart. The shower, I can fit in, but I have to put my head through the vent up here to actually stand up and take a shower. And I'm 6'2". So the hot water does work pretty good, though. It gets too hot in here, so I got to kind of mix it, and turn it down. But at least we can get a nice warm shower. Toilet's a little tight, but I can fit on it. If you're like 250 pounds, you might have a problem fitting on it. But I guess that's like an access for the water lines. And then it does have a light right up there. It's not plugged in, but there's a light there. Another GFI outlet there. Comes with a hook. Which didn't really work that great, but you could put your towels. There's one on the door here too. And it comes with a mirror, which is really awkward while you're showering, if you're gonna shave or something like that. I guess it's just do your hair really quick and get out. But in the $20,000 range, because basically it's I think there's 16 grand, and then all their freight and all their add-on charges, you're in the $20,000 range on these. And then if you get like their gold package through Blue Compass for all the warranties, it's going to bump you up even more. They did discount our gold package, but some of it really wasn't worth it. But the main thing is that it came with gap insurance, so if you did total it or something like that, they'd pay off the loan. So that's kind of cool. I know car insurance companies do that. I just don't know what the cost difference is. But they have roadside assistance, and if you need a vehicle to get in between, if your car got totaled, towing this or something like that, they'll give you a rent a car and I think a hotel stay or something like that, part of the package. And then any tires blow out, or pretty much mechanically, if anything goes wrong, everything's covered with the Blue Compass Gold package. So, but I don't know if I would say to recommend this trailer. I know there's only so many on the market and so many designs, but it seems like if you buy something that's more expensive, like a Lance, might last you a lot longer and be a better quality. It's just hard to find something for the weight, depending on your vehicle that you're towing. So I think my van max is like 6,000 pounds, but I don't want to come close to that because it just doesn't have the power to get up and down the hills that great. It does come with trailer brakes. I guess newer trailers have to come with that. So that's something I'd had to add on to my van, would be in the trailer module. But for the most part, I didn't really need it. I kind of just try to judge the, the hills and the people on the road, all the traffic. So but I hope that gives you an idea of what we think on this trailer, and hope it was useful, giving you the kind of the pros and cons a little bit. Main thing is it's got, for the most part, a good AC, and I guess the furnace, once it burns off that smell, and it's pretty lightweight. So I hope that answers your questions, and hope you all have a great day. Take care.